What is up, guys? I am the one and only Eagle Double T, and in this video, I'm going to be comparing the famous PlayStation 2 to the Nintendo GameCube. So let's begin. Round 1, controller. Now let's start with the GameCube controller. It feels built very, very well, and there's no issues with its build quality. It is extremely comfortable to hold, and the most comfortable controller I've ever held. I really like the little C-stick, and I think it's very comfortable, and the joystick on top is nice and grippy. The D-pad is very nice, and it's a classic, great Nintendo D-pad. I love the way the buttons are laid out. They're very nice in their shapes, sizes. It's very good. The triggers are very nice. Your finger just fits right in them. Very high-quality controller. The PS2 controller, it's not as comfortable. It is usable. A lot of people find it extremely comfortable. I don't think it's that comfortable, personally. It does not feel built nearly as well. It just feels like they just threw it together. The D-pad, the buttons, the joysticks, the triggers, none of it feels quite as high quality as the GameCube. Now, that's not saying the DualShock 2 is bad. I'm just saying the GameCube controller is definitely better. Next, let's talk about the features. Now, the PS2 has a lot of great features. It was the first console to have USB ports, and it had 2 of them, so that was great. It had 2 memory card slots, which is nice. 2 controller ports, but at the time the standard was 4, but you could get a multi-tap adapter. It has optical out, AV out, and a modem, built-in modem for online play, so that was great. But its main feature was that it could play DVD movies, which is credited to a lot of its sales. But that was a great feature, that it could play the movies. Now the GameCube had 4 controller ports, which is nice. 2 memory card slots, composite, and AV, so that was great. That it had composite, so you could have good picture quality on your TV, or better picture quality, I mean. But its main feature was the Game Boy player, which allowed you to play any Game Boy game ever. Just pop that right into the Game Boy player, insert the Game Boy player disc, and you're ready to go. So when it comes to features, I would say the PS2 narrowly wins because it has the USB ports, and it could play DVD movies, which was awesome. Next, let's talk about the build quality. Now, the GameCube uses dense plastic. It's good plastic. It's a cube. It's tough. It's indestructible. It's a very well-built console, and so is its controllers. The PS2, its build quality isn't bad. It's just not as good as the GameCube. Even things like the disc tray just aren't built as well as the GameCube's. The DualShock 2 isn't built as well as the GameCube controller. Like I said, the build quality isn't bad. It's just nowhere near as good as the GameCube's build quality. Now, when it comes to graphics, the GameCube uses the ATI flipper, which is clocked in at 162 megahertz. The PS2 is 147 megahertz. Now, that may not sound like a huge difference, but the CPU is where the GameCube really excels. Now, the GameCube has a CPU of 486, while the PS2 has a CPU of 299 on the slim models, meaning the GameCube is much faster. Now, the GameCube, graphically, may not seem a whole lot better, but trust me, it is. Look up a comparison of Resident Evil 4. The GameCube versus the PS2. And the GameCube is definitely 100 times better than the PS2. And finally, let's take a look at the games of these two systems. Now, the PS2 has a lot of great games. It has a lot of exclusives and great third-party support. It has amazing games like Guitar Hero, Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, as well as God of War, and there's a lot of other great games for the PS2. Now, the GameCube has much more first-party titles. Medal of Honor Rising Sun is a great game. Top Gun Combat Zones. Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4 was originally only released for the GameCube, but did later come out on other consoles. Call of Duty Finest Hour. So, the GameCube did have Call of Duty along with the PS2 and Xbox. Wave Race Blue Storm, which is an exclusive. Sonic Mega Collection, which is an exclusive. Super Mario Sunshine, exclusive. Metroid Prime, exclusive. As well as Zelda, Luigi's Mansion, there's tons of other ones. So when it comes to games, I would go with the GameCube. I mean, it's literally called a GameCube. It just has great first-party titles as well as pretty good third-party support. This was probably Nintendo's console that had the most third-party support. So, which would I rather play? In the end, when taking into account the controllers, the graphics, the features, the games, in the end, I would go with the GameCube. Personally, I prefer the GameCube. Comment down below which console you like better. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more video game content. I am the one and only Eagle Double T signing off. Goodbye.